So I know at the beginning of every YouTube video I do, I always welcome you guys to my channel to tell you who I am. What I've never done though is I've never fully welcomed you to what I call Weldon Aquatics. So, welcome to Weldon Aquatics. So something was asked for in my initial live stream, the first live stream I ever did, was I got a comment saying they would like a full fish room tour of everything I have going on. And I do plan on making some more videos, or I already have done some videos of breaking down each tank more in depth. And I thought tonight would be a great time just to take you around of everything I got going on, what I'm working on. And really, it's been almost 10 months since I've done the last full fish room tour. And I can link that up here in a card up the upper right-hand corner. That was back when all my fish tanks were still upstairs and I just didn't have everything going I do now. So I would like to take you around and really just show you and let you enjoy my piece of heaven of how I see it. So let's get started. All right, guys, I think we'll start over here with the 220 gallon. This was a fun tank to get. This kind of came really on a whim. The main show, the star here, is the Maboo puffer we have. You know, that was a fun, really fun experience. I drove up to the aquarium co-op in Washington to pick that fish up. But initially when I drove up there, I did not plan on buying a Maboo puffer. I planned on buying a Shodanai puffer, and I had a tank set up for it. But when I got there, they had just sold their last Shodanai puffer, but they had the little Maboo puffer in stock. And while I was up there, I actually found this tank on a local classified ad here in Utah, and I was able to arrange the pickup for that when I got back from my trip, so I was able to make the purchase of the Maboo puffer. So that was a lot of fun. I do have a video where we have shown us getting this entire tank down here. I've done a full in-depth video on the plumbing, but just to kind of recap everything. So this tank is 6 feet long. It's 2 feet front to back and about 30 inches tall. And we've done a lightscape in here with a lot of Anubias plants. We do have a crypt in here, the Cryptowindeti. I love this crypt plant. The willow hydro, I think this one's called. It's doing okay in here. And these Java ferns over here are struggling a little bit, and this Anubias is doing all right. But this is absolutely one of my favorite tanks. Still a work in progress. It's still expanding as we go. But we also have an abundance of fish in here. So let's get down here. Let's see. I know in the back of the rocks here we have all of these, oh, he just loves the camera. The back of the rocks we have all the Synodontis catfish that used to be in a 40 gallon, but unfortunately we lost all of the Amazon puffers, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. So those catfish came over here. I don't know if you can see them, but right back there I have my red-tailed shark, or a rainbow shark. And that is we call him Francis. Francis was named by my wife. He is actually an original fish to me. He's an original fish from my very first fish tank my wife bought for me for Christmas a couple years ago. So that was a fun one to see that he's still around. We also have a couple of emerald cories running around in this tank. We have a flag-tailed Pracholotus in here. We have the lonely Bolivian ram that I just couldn't give up. I really like that guy. He's over here. What else we got? We also have a group of Geophagus in here. So we have a Jurapari. We have a Standechneri in the back there. Let's see. Everyone's kind of hiding from me. In the very back, I have a Damion Geophagus. The Maboo can't stay out of the camera. And I also know we have a Tapaho Geophagus running around. Oh, there he is. There's the Tapaho right here. So the Geos in this tank were actually never supposed to be in here. We were actually supposed to have a 75 gallon tank specifically set up for them, but things kind of changed when we set this tank up for the Maboo puffer. So also in this tank we have about six plecos in here. A group of bristlenose plecos, and I also have the butterfly pleco in here, as well as the ranger pleco in here. And I hardly ever get to see them, but man, when I do that ranger pleco, let me tell you, he's got some amazing coloration going on right now. For the filtration on this tank, if you remember right, we set this up on the trickle tower. So we have one bucket full of the pot scrubbies that used to be running my 75 gallon, and the next bucket is full of bio balls. So we got plenty of filtration there. Then we also have about 15 to 20 bags of the bio rings on the bottom. And this is the tank we did the experiment on, and we have the FX6 actually running as the main return pump on this, backed up by a small CJ pump. And this FX6 is just strictly full of foam, just a pre-filter foam, the filter sponge, and it's doing amazing work in here. We do tend to get quite a bit of micro bubbles coming up through the tank, but I don't mind it at all. I may switch this out around, put just an actual additional return pump in here, but so far the experiment with the FX6 has been a lot of fun. It's something I've always wanted to try, was to run a sump using a canister filter, and I've found a way to make that work for me. So let's come back around over here to the main part of the Nook. So this stand used to be right here. We used to have Sparta up here, but now Sparta has moved over there, and we'll talk about that. So this is the new tank we are starting. I plan on doing a full intro video on this, so more to come on this one. We are currently filling it with some RO water just to kind of give you an idea. I've talked a little bit about this, and this really is like my first initial reveal, but I still want to do a full introductory video on that, so more of that to come, and I'm super excited for that. Probably the original tank that was set up down here was the high-tech planted aquarium that I wanted to make a shrimp tank. So this is a 33-gallon long, so it is 4 feet left to right, 12 inches front to back, and 12 inches tall. It's a very fun size of tank for me. So we are running CO2 in this tank, which is really what makes this a high-tech planted aquarium. We're injecting CO2 in this to give immense plant growth, and we've got all sorts of plants going on in here. And if you've watched some of my videos, you'll know that I've talked a lot about this tank of was it going to be an epic fail, or was it just going to turn out to be epic? And right now I think it just turned out to be strictly epic. So we finally have got some cherry shrimp going on in this tank. I got these from my local auction. I'm very pleased with them. These guys have been a lot of fun to add in here. And we also have a pair of dwarf rainbows in here, the Praecox rainbow. And they're looking fantabulous. I'm really excited and really hope those guys start breeding for me. So the thing that really cleared up my algae is that we added a small power head to each side of the tank to get really good flow throughout the tank. And we've got all sorts of plants going on. This Pogo Stamon Ocellatus octopus has gone absolutely crazy, but I love the effect it has coming out of the center of the tank. We've got some dwarf hairgrass going on the bottom. We have a bunch of the Buse plants. We have Buse plants going on. We have some Reneki over in the corner. We have some Crypt Flamingo, some different types of crypts in this tank. And we've got a bunch of hitchhiker snails growing in here, but that's all right. That's just puffer food. But yeah, so far, this tank has turned out to be one of my absolute favorite tanks down here. And I'm going to say that about every tank I have, just in the way that they have all started to come together and really produce out for me. So it has been a lot of fun. The hardscape we have in this tank is the maple leaf stone that I got from Houston Manzanita. You've heard me talk about that. And we're also running the old Fluval 2.0 light on here, so we're definitely getting some high intensity light on this. But that's what is helping with my immense plant growth. So yeah, I think this one has definitely turned out to be an epic tank versus the epic fail. We branch over here. This is going to be probably what I'm going to call like the mascot of Weldon Aquatics. We have Kiwi, my Fahaka puffer. This was my holy grail fish when I found her, because I found her locally. She is doing great. We do have a single flagtail Procholotus in here. They're getting along just fine. No issues there. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that we used to have a big Royal Pleco in here, but initially we have moved him on to a different home as we were having some aggression issues. So to break this tank down, this is a 125-gallon tank. 6 feet long, that's 18 inches front to back, and about 22 inches tall. One of my favorite tank sizes. This is the way it portrays itself. And these are all homemade stands these are on. They're all made out of 2x4. So for those who say that 2x4 stands cannot hold a large amount of tanks, well, I'm doing it with zero issues. We are filtering this tank with an FX6 Fluval canister. And we've upgraded that canister to have more sponge in there, along with a lot more of the biomedia. Plants, we do have some crypt a couple cryptowind deadeyes that are growing in really well. That one actually went through some crazy melt, but it came back really strong. The Crinum calistranum is one of my favorite plants. I have a big Aponigeton plant over here. This thing has gone absolutely massive. I really like how it's now draping over the aquarium. So overall, I'm very pleased with this plant. Believe it or not, this is actually some dwarf Sagittaria. It's growing really long but not spreading out very well. Probably could do with a better substrate. This is a pool filtration sand we're using on the substrate, primarily to let Kiwi loves to bury in the sand and to give herself some cover there. And right now we're just lighting this tank with just a 4-foot shop light, and I'm getting, you know, a lot of algae growth, really good plant growth. Everything's going super well in this tank. I'm very pleased with this. One of my favorite tanks. This was initially supposed to be the pufferfish I had, and then things just kept snowballing from there, and now we have the Boo Puff, and I absolutely love what I have going on down here. So again, up top we have the 125-gallon tank, and then down below we're going to come down to the 240 breeders. So on these 240 breeders, we are running one single sponge filter with the new Zis Bio filter. This is the fluidized media filter that has hit the market that Aquarium Co-op has, and I'm very pleased with them. I like the filtration it's adding to this tank, and I'm having zero issues with it. But in this tank, he may be hard to see. He's the bump on the log right down in here. It is Milo, my orange bipuffer. First pufferfish I ever had. Found him in my local fish store one day, called the wife and sent her a picture, and she said that he was too cute to resist. We brought him home. He loves to hide under his driftwood here. We have a couple plants going on in here. He's not the most active fish, but man, at night when he comes out and he's ready to feed, he's one of my favorite fish, and he's not going anywhere. So next to him is now where Sparta resides. He is my flower horn that we have. And this used to be, if you remember right, this used to be the Amazon puffer tank. We did a video setting that complete tank up, and unfortunately we lost every single Amazon puffer, and I have no idea what happened to them. I was not able to find any bodies. There should have been no aggression towards each other. They were in with some plecos and some catfish, and the thing is they all quarantined together, so I have no idea what went wrong. So when they all went down, we moved the plecos and the catfish over to 220 like we talked about. We brought Sparta down here to make way for that new reef tank that we are setting up. So Sparta is not the greatest quality flower horn, but man, he's got a lot of personality. He shows it, he loves it. It is late right now, and he's pissed off that his lights are on. But man, in the mornings when he's ready to eat, he is full of spunk, full of life. And just an all-around fun fish to keep. So that does it for that one there. We have the 125 on top of 240s. And if we come over here, this is one of the most requested tanks to see when I do a live stream. This is my shell dweller tank. This is one that we have recently set up. I did the road trip on to go pick these guys up. Absolutely love these fish. I say every tank down here is my favorite tank, but this is actually one of my favorite tanks to just come sit in front of and watch. Just the hierarchy of the fish, the way they interact with their environment, and the fact they live in shells. I mean, you can't get much cooler now that they live in shells. So they've been a lot of fun to have. All of these shells are off Amazon. These are just there's some escargot shells in here. And we also have a trio of another lake Tanganyikan fish. I'll have to look at the name, but I bought them at a local auction here. They're doing well, but primarily these shell dwellers are keeping everyone at bay. And I'm really excited to grow this colony. I have some future plans for this fish, and I really want to do a video that kind of more break down this tank to show you really what these guys are. But again, this is just the way they interact with their environment. One of my favorite fish right now. I love watching this tank just to see everything going on in here. We already do have some little fry running around, so I'm really happy with that. I really hope these guys continue to breed for me, and maybe one day we'll upgrade them to a larger tank. And then last but not least, we're gonna come down here. So this is my 20-gallon saltwater tank that we set up. And this was supposed to be a very long-term ongoing experiment. We have one solo clownfish in here and also a Halloween crab somewhere in here. Who knows where? Actually, I think that's him right there on the rock. So I wanted to do like a simple saltwater build to test my hand at it and see if we couldn't grow some coral with the Fluval 3.0 marine light. And it just kind of took a tank and dived and didn't go anywhere. as we are currently working on a new reef tank. So this has turned into a nice quarantine tank. That clownfish will move on to the next tank, but we're gonna use this tank as a quarantine tank to try this. And we're using some ChemiPure blue along with this some polyfill in this hang on the back filter for the filtration on this. And you know, so far for the low bioload we have in this tank, everything's done really well in there. It's been a fun tank. So I really am excited to see where this expands off to, but so far that's what we got. So guys, thank you for joining me on the fish tour, the Fish Nook tour. This was a highly requested video of my live stream, and I really wanted to share with you what I've got going on. But also tonight I got some artwork hung up on the walls. So if you haven't checked out Jimmy, the Aquarium Co-op editor, he does some fantastic shots of that. Some of his prints are up on my wall now. And I finally got my shirt that was signed by Corey, framed it up on the wall. So this is really just kind of my piece of heaven. So I think what we'll do is we'll finish off this video with maybe some B-roll footage, just some soft music, just to kind of let you really take in what I get to see every day walking through my door, and I get to enjoy this more and more. So thank you for joining me, and we'll talk to you guys on the next one.